Man, that's a really cool, what is that? Oh, a styling head. Interesting, okay. All right, if you are on this side and you chose the styling head, you're right. That obviously could even carry the other thing, right? That's pretty cool. All right, so here's round number 3. I hope you get this one right. Okay, let's do it. Oh, all right. Oh man, that's a really big blaster, isn't it? Oh, and it's battery powered, but that's a lot of them. Oh, and it comes with masks. Hey, that's pretty cool. All right, if you are on the blaster side, you're right. That motorized just wins out, but you could definitely get the vest too, right? You definitely need both to really rock the neighborhood. All right, I want to remind you that, in fact, more rounds of this before our last round are online right now today on our YouTube and our Facebook pages. So just visit the link below and even share it with a friend. See if you can get them all today. All right, so let's hop into the last round. Awesome, those 2 things are really, really cool. Man, so that one does kick flips, but man, that ripstick looks really, really cool. All right, if you chose the ripstick, you are right. If you chose the ripstick, definitely, obviously, the more expensive one, and maybe even the cooler one. I don't know if you have one, but I see the kids in the neighborhood riding them. They look pretty awesome. All right, thank you so much for watching. Let's hop right back into our story. See you guys later. Bye. Hope you had fun playing that game, and maybe even look around your house to see what might cost a little bit more than you thought it did. Some of those were kind of crazy, weren't they? Well, today we're talking about something that costs a little bit more. In fact, we're talking about the cost of following Jesus. Now, if you follow Jesus, you're called a Christian, all right? And so a Christian has said, I want to put Jesus in charge of my entire life. That means when I make a choice, I'm not just thinking about what I want, I'm thinking about what Jesus has asked me to do and what's best for his kingdom. All right, so today we're going to dive into a story that Jesus teaches about this. That reminds me of our big picture question is, what did Jesus teach while he was here on earth? And he taught about a few different things as our stories have taught us, but today is some big ideas. So parents, hold on and listen up with it, but I think you might be encouraged to know that Jesus asked for a radical, that means a crazy or different idea, and the cost follows suit. So let's check out this video as we think through that.
Large crowds traveled with Jesus. Many people wanted to follow him. One man said, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus told the man, "Foxes have dens and birds of the sky have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Another disciple said, "Lord, I will follow you, but first let me go and bury my father." Jesus replied, "Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead." Jesus told the people that following him wouldn't be easy. It would cost them a lot. Anyone who comes to me must be willing to leave his family. You must love me most of all, more than your own life. Anyone who is unwilling to suffer cannot be my disciple, Jesus said. Jesus urged the people to think about what they were doing. He told them a story. If you wanted to build a tower, you would first sit down and figure out what it would take to complete the tower. Otherwise, you would build the foundation and be unable to finish. People would laugh at you. Then he told them another story. If you were a king, you wouldn't go to war against another king without considering whether your army would be great enough to win the war. If you have too few men to fight, you would send some men to ask for peace before the battle even started. Jesus wanted the people to consider the cost. If you are not willing to give up everything you have, you cannot follow me, Jesus said. Following Jesus means giving him complete control of your life. That is not easy, but it is worth it. Jesus said, "Whoever gives up his life for me will find true life." What good is it to have everything you want in the world if you give up life with God forever? Jesus taught that following him is not easy. It requires commitment and sacrifice. When we trust in Jesus, we give him complete control over our lives. True life is found in Jesus, who gave up his life to rescue us from sin and death. He is worth it.
All right, so I don't know if you were a little confused by this story, but let me go ahead and sum up one thing. Is our big picture question. What did Jesus teach about while he was here on earth? The answer is Jesus taught about God and his kingdom, and he taught that all scripture, that means the Bible, points to Jesus, about him. All right, so those two things, you may have been confused by some of those things, but really what Jesus is talking about is the choice. The choice to follow him has a cost. And well, actually, I think this is an easier way to understand it, that choices do have consequences, and that I want to show you in a cool experiment where I'm actually going to need a friend. So you know what, let's just hop into it and you can check it out. All right, guys, I want to welcome my good friend, Mr. Nate, to the party. We're going to be playing a game. You may know it as Jenga, but it is just a tower stack, and we're going to see who wins. Now, Mr. Nate, this game is actually pretty simple, but we have to remove one piece without knocking over the whole tower and then place it on top until one of us makes a poor choice and the whole thing falls down. Are you ready to play? Absolutely. Perfect. All right, so let's see here. I will go first. By all means, go ahead and go first. All right, so let's see here. Let's go right. Ooh. Ooh. Let's go. Ooh, wiggle. Wiggle. All right. Pretty good move. Ooh. This is way harder than it looks. I may win the first round here. All right. Good job. Okay, first one. Now first one done. Let me show you the master does it, okay? Whew. Okay, so let's. Hey, that's pretty good, right? That's pretty easy, right? That was a pretty good move. That was pretty solid. And on top. Man. Gosh, well, this one's kind of sticking out. Let's see. That's an easy one. Let's see what it's got. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Did it? Ooh, all right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see here. So, Mr. Nate, while we're playing Jenga, boys and girls, while we're playing Jenga, is this game's all about choices, and it's all about making the right choices or the wrong choices. And frankly, living with the consequences, living with what happens with that. And our story is actually about the choice to follow Jesus today. So it's pretty easy. So all right, now it's my turn. All right. Okay. All right. Did it. Perfect. Your turn, Mr. Nate. Man. Let's. All right. Nice and low. Nice and easy. That's a pretty easy one. All right, pulled it out. Let's see what I got here. Perfect. All right. Your turn, Mr. Nate. All right. You know, I actually think we're going to be at this game for quite a while. So you and I are both spending some time here, right? Thinking about what choices we're going to make, which one we're going to do, but frankly, it comes down to more when we make the wrong choice, how does that play out? And if we're not thinking, if I try to close my eyes and play this game, well, that would turn out completely different as it probably would if you did as well. But frankly, the point I really wanted to show and really wanted to make, in fact, you can play this game at home with your family as well, and think about this the next time you get to play, is that when we make the wrong choice, it kind of all comes crashing down. Oh my goodness, right? It all kind of comes crashing down. It's not necessarily the point of our story, but it is an aspect of our story that I want you to understand in a deeper way, because what your choices have is consequences. And so no matter what you're doing, it happens like that. All right, let's hop right back into our story. Now that was pretty silly. I really do thank the other Nate for helping me out in that, and I hope you understand what we were talking about, where choices have consequences. But unlike that game, following Jesus hasn't a negative consequence, and we're not just always marching towards who's going to fail, but we're saying, how is God going to win? And are we going to be a part of that? Do we get to see that happening? That's a cost that I think we're willing to pay. The cost of something sometimes means that we trade something that we have for something that we get. And there's always this idea that maybe we're paying too much or too little. Maybe you even hear your parents say something like, "I paid too much for that car," or "I really got a good deal on this sweet sweater," right? All of those things come into how much we pay versus, meaning the cost, how much it took from us, and how much we got. And when we talk about Jesus, well, we pay our lives, which is a lot to us, but what he gives us is oh so much more. And Pastor Brian talks about that in our weekly question. So let's check it out now.
Hey there, I'm Pastor Brian, and it's time for Questions from Kids. Serenity from Hebron, Kentucky asks,
sometimes being a Christian seems hard. Is it worth it?
Yes, Serenity, let me just affirm your question first of all, the first part. You're right. There are times where being a Christian is difficult. We all experience this, and the longer that we follow Christ, probably the more we've experienced it. And the reason is this: Jesus told us that would happen. The Bible speaks a lot more about the difficulties that we will experience for following Christ than benefits that we will gain. And so we have to understand, when we think about following Christ, we're going to experience more difficulty, more adversity than we will good, positive things. At least that's how it feels. And so here's the reason why. We live in a world that is opposed to Christ. The world is against Christ. And if we are for Christ, if we take a stand for him and we let people know that and we're living for him, we're living in a way that the world does not like, and it will oppose us as well. This is what Jesus told us. So there are a lot of times where we will experience difficulties for following Christ. So that's the first part of your question I just wanted to acknowledge. Now, the second part, the real question you had was this: is it worth it? And the answer, of course, is yes. It is worth it. It is always, always worth it. And here's why. Keep the bigger picture in mind. The adversity that we experience is temporary. It may feel like it lasts a long time, but it really doesn't. There will be an end to it. And it will be difficult. But here's the reality. You compare that and contrast that with what awaits us for eternity. Being in heaven with Christ forever, where it is all just good and all the sin is gone, all this difficulty is gone, and we will have that situation forever. That makes it all worth it. And that's what Paul talked about. He said, man, I might experience momentary affliction, but I gladly experience that because I know what awaits me, eternity in heaven with God. Here's the other thing that helps me as well to remember, is that Jesus experienced affliction. You read through the Gospels and you see time after time where Jesus is made fun of, he's mocked, people give him a hard time quite a bit, and actually, as we know, he was arrested and crucified. And so it encourages me to know that, yeah, life is difficult for me, but the one I follow, Jesus, life was difficult for him as well. And he was faithful to the Father. I want to be faithful as well. So is it worth it? It is, by all means. Question back for you then. What might you give up to follow Jesus, and what will you gain because of it?
I hope that you see the cost of following Jesus as something that is though important to us, so much smaller than the reward we get. Just as Pastor Brian talked to us about how we get so many things after this life. I also hope that you picture the idea that here on earth, it may not always be easy to be a Christian. I know many of you pull for one or two schools, Alabama or Auburn, and maybe even have an opinion about the other group. If you could imagine going to the opposite, that means if you're an Alabama fan, going to an Auburn game and expecting everyone to cheer when Alabama scores, or being an Auburn fan and going to an Alabama game and expecting all the Alabama fans to cheer when Auburn kicks a field goal. Just don't be amazed, because that's kind of the world we're talking about. A Christian is not of this world, so let's not be amazed when the world doesn't like us. Let's not be amazed when the world doesn't see us for how special we are. In fact, God has made us special. In fact, God has made everyone special. Now, not everyone's a Christian, but that doesn't mean everyone can't be a Christian. To follow God has a cost, but the reward is so much higher. If you've never become a Christian, I actually want you to click the link in below, and I want you to listen to what we call the gospel, or the good news. And I want you to respond. I want you to know that Jesus is actually asking for you to follow him. Jesus wants all people. He wants every person. He's made every person special and every person unique and amazing. I hope that you see that God wants you, that God cheers for you. And the cost of you following him is very small, because he's the best. Boys and girls, I cannot wait to see you again very soon. And I hope you have a great Sunday. Talk to you later. Bye.